Hello everyone, Veritasdh here. Today I'm going to be starting the newest of my series, Road to Gladiator. So this series is going to be based on people that want to learn how to PvP and eventually work up the courage to step into arenas and RBGs. Just rated content in general. I've been browsing the internet lately and I really haven't found anything on YouTube or just like any website in general for people just starting out the PvP. I know for me when I started the PvP years ago that it was kind of a nerve-wracking of experience. It was very intimidating, especially when I would step into arena and whether it was with my friends or a pug or whatever, I would always be so afraid that I would screw everything up. So I figured I would set up a series of videos, slowly improving. I'm still adapting with Adobe Premiere and trying to learn. So, it's a work in progress, if you will. Today is just pretty much going to be like a little bit of a rant of how I started PvP and what you really are looking for, or to look forward to, I should say, in these videos. So, when I started PvP, it was years ago. I was one of those people that, back in the original Vanilla WoW, right as honor systems came out, wasn't too sure about it. I played player versus player in other games like Quake and all of that, and I was always kind of anxious when it came to playing against other people, especially competitively. I wasn't one to, always like bash someone into the ground or like make fun of them and stuff like that. Especially, going back to my early BattleNet days with StarCraft 2 and Warcraft in general. So it was a little bit of, you know, anxiety. I jumped into the whole system, but surprisingly over the years, through the various honor systems, we had honor, arena, points, conquest, etc., etc. I slowly got into it, not just for the gear reward, but the fun of like going against other players and competing and learning. One of the hardest things I think for me was, if you're really wanting to be good at PvP, you have to learn to understand what each class is capable of. So let's think about that for a second. Each class is capable of. So for one, I was a hunter when I first started this game. I was only, interested in DPS, traps, pets, the whole shebang. I didn't understand that there were certain abilities and counter classes to my class. Like, for example, I'd be going up against a warrior, and this is back while there was a range 5-yard dead zone, and this guy's just all up in my grill, just like wailing on me with his two-handed mortal strike. It's like, what the hell do I do to fight against this guy? So what I had to learn to eventually do is wing clip, which would slow them, and then, just kite away from him, do the best I can, concussive shot, trap him, then try to get my DPS rotation. Now, applying this to current version of the game is a little harder because there's so many different classes, specs, and abilities that you have to be careful of. You're not sure how much you want to jump down the rabbit hole. So for this, I would suggest an add-on, well, a couple of add-ons to be exact. As you're watching just like this bland like PvP clip of me in Wintergrass, you'll notice that I have a bunch of bars kind of like hidden at the bottom. This is more of I use them more for RBGs, but it's called Battleground Enemies, and it's really nice. You can see what other classes are doing, if they have certain abilities on them, and even what covenant they are. So you can learn to counter them. Obviously, in a 40 versus 40, like Wintergrass, is not going to help you a lot, but definitely something good to have, especially for RBGs. And then we have another add-on called Gladius LOS. So Gladius is one of the ways I actually learned what different classes had what abilities. It would come up to say big heal, mass spell reflection, and stuff like that. Generally terms you hear, but you don't really, put your thoughts into what they actually do. So when I started hearing these, I started looking up the abilities and understanding what other classes did. Like, for one, a warrior with spell reflect up, if I'm a mage, I'm not going to want to cast polymorph or sheep or whatever you want to call it, because that will get reflected back at me instead of polymorphing him. You'll also learn it's like, oh, he's just hit all of his cooldowns. So usually if you hear a flurry of voice text going about, like combustion, fire streak or whatever, just popped all at once, it's like, oh crap, I gotta hit personal cooldowns or I'm in a heap of mess. So it's definitely something to look into, something to, especially if you're starting PvP, that you want to get familiar with, just in general. There's I could spend all day going through the abilities, and honestly, my series of videos, I think what I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to target each class, because I have experience with all of them in PvP, and then we'll break down what, they counter, and what counters them, and what to be on the lookout for, how to play offensively, how to play defensively, etc. I mean, with that being said, if you're a newer PvPer, you're more likely, I just want to live, I want to get as much honor as I can. So that's really the basic, or I should say the basics. What you want to do is just stay alive as long as you can, and just test your rotation. What does the most damage? This, and then at the end of the battleground, take that and go to websites such as Icy Veins, or, there's even some logging websites, not just Warcraft logs, but there's some PvP logging websites that I will mention in the future, that you can see what the other team was doing, or what you should be doing, what would be more efficient, what talents you should run, etc., etc. For example, my priest I am running in this video, obviously discipline, but for a newer player they might not have known that. My discipline priest is a hybrid between a DPS and a healer, so a lot of my damage converts to heals as long as I have something called atonement on. And depending on what PvP talents, like if I had Trinity I was running, I could only apply atonement with Power Word Shield and stuff like that. But you would only know that if you're a priest, or have any experience with a priest. So your average player might not think, I have atonement up on any of my different teammates when I'm just running Trinity. Or they might think, oh my god, he must be healing his whole party while he's doing damage. Usually, at least for me, if I'm playing offensively, I'm confident I'm going to win. I think that's the biggest thing I see with a lot of newer PvPers. They play defensively, and the other team / other group of players sees that as a weakness. Because if you play defensively and you cower, they're going to follow you. I mean, you can play to your advantage with this and kind of feign submission, but overall, it's kind of like demoralizing, at least for yourself, if you try to hide. You have to eventually come out of your cell and push. So I would say the hardest thing and the first step for PvP is just accepting you are fighting other people, or you are keeping your team up to fight other people. Because if you play defensively, you're not going to win the games. That is my first of many lessons you will hear in this series. Sorry, it was a little bit of a rant, but I just wanted to get a feeler out there to see how you guys would feel with this. And, I'm going to do some better clipping and everything when I start adjusting a little bit more with, what is it called? Adobe Premiere. But I look forward to you guys watching this series. It's going to get better, like I said, We have a lot of footage. I'm going to cover arenas, rated battlegrounds, and PvP gearing. There's actually some tricks that I discovered that I think would be really cool for you guys. Feel free to catch me live on Twitch TV, Veritasdh. You know, just as it's spelled, it'll be all over my my YouTube file and all my social medias and everything. But please like, comment, and subscribe. I want to blow this channel up as much as we can. Help reach as many new people as we can, grow our community. We also have a Discord that I will be updating on YouTube and working on. It's good. Like I said, this is all going to take time, but I really am looking forward to this awesome journey we're going to be on together. I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Have a good day, guys. Thanks. Bye.